What up? This is the Gopher Broke podcast. We're diving into the interior defensive line. You know, it might not sound the sexiest, but their names you got to know. So we'll dive into that, and then we got to talk about Iowa. And one thing I know for sure that's a fact about Iowa, we hate Iowa. What up? You're listening to the Gopher Broke podcast. This is Kane, Rob, Tristyn, Spann-Ford, your co-hosts for the show. If you are just joining us for the first time, thank you. We appreciate it. Be sure to hit subscribe over on YouTube. Follow wherever you get podcasts. Leave a 5-star review so others can find the show. But we're just vibing. We're talking Gophers once a week, every week, and we're going to get way more consistent as the season comes. But guess what? It is coming quick, bro. It is almost August, which means camp is going to start, which means football is here. How you feeling, bro?
Brother, we are all the way back. There is literally a football game being played next week. Yeah, it's the Hall of Fame game, but I'm going to still watch it for a quarter or two. Football is football. We are here. It is. We're in the thick of it right now.
Yeah, I know y'all Vikings fans can't wait for these preseason games to kick off too, because you get to see JJ for the first time, and you get the bonus of Max Brosmer playing for this. I'm going to tap into some Vikings games because I got to see Gophers legend Max Brosmer in there. Hopefully he gets in the second half, early second half. We'll see. But you know what I saw? I did not have this on the show notes, but we got to dive into it. Max Brosmer and JJ McCarthy working out at Woodbury High School, throwing the ball to Jay Jets, throwing the ball to TJ Hawkinson, and throwing the ball to two Gophers, Logan Loya, Javon Tracy out there with them Vikings quarterbacks. You love to see it, my guy.
What a combo. What a combination of people on the field. It's a great time. It's a great time. That's chemistry right there. The Vikings championship season is loading. Gophers championship season is loading. I'm excited. It's a great time to be a Minnesota football fan.
Bro, you leading me right in without knowing you're leading me right in. You said the Gophers championship season is loading. I want to know. Look, the internal media days took place recently. There were like 20 or more players that the media could talk to the Gophers. Now, unfortunately, your boy was not there. Big meeting, could not make it. I was super bummed about it. But caught a quote from the Pioneer Press. Zaquan Bryan, our guy, friend of the show, got a shout out, got to show love, along with others, was like, the goal this year is playoffs. The goal this year is to get to the CFP. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's a good thing to be putting out there? You think it's not overconfident, but is that shooting for the stars? Or how are we feeling when it comes to shooting for the playoffs? I mean, I feel like a competitor, you gotta set the bar high no matter what. But how are you feeling hearing something like that?
It is 125% bulletin board material. Do not get it twisted. That is bulletin board material for anyone to say stuff like that. But how do you shift a culture if you don't have that level of confidence? Like, we've had how many winning seasons now in a row? But at some point, you want to get past a bowl game. Like, at some point, you want these guys to say, like, hey, I'm sick of doing these bowl games. Like, I'm trying to make playoffs. I want to win a championship. And that's the only way you do it, is with that kind of confidence. Like, you can sit back and be like, well, it was nice. We got another bowl win, another bowl win, another bowl win. But you never get over that hump until you get some guys in here like, hey, guys, that's not enough. It's not enough. We want to win some championships. We want to win some playoff games. And with the new playoff format, why not now? Like, this is the time for us to take the next step. So I'm 100% on Zaquan's side. And yes, if we end up going, winning 7 games this season, people are going to look back and be like, you said you were going to win a championship, but who cares? Look at Jaylen Brown. How many championships he's supposed to have by now? I don't think that bothers him when he got that one.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. It didn't bother me either. I was loving it.
Exactly.
We got the Boston Herald picture right up here hanging out. We loving it over here. But with that, you're 100% right too. Because like, why wouldn't you be talking like that? Why wouldn't you have that confidence to shoot for the playoffs? And you can't even say like it's blasphemous. I know a lot of people like Ohio State fans. We know they were hating on the PJ extension. Whatever. Get over yourselves. But what I'm saying is, look, we had the 2019 season. That team would have been in the playoffs. Shoot, last year, if you end up flipping the North Carolina game and the Penn State game, I think you have a conversation that they could have been on the cusp of the playoffs. I mean, Indiana got in last year. They would have been what, like, I think they would have been 9-3 if they flipped those two games. So they would have been on the verge, not quite there, but they could have won a couple games last year to be on the fringe. And like we've said, this schedule isn't terrible. Like you look at Ohio State and you look at Oregon and you're like, yeah, those two are tough. But outside of that, every game you have a shot in. I'm not saying you have the odds in your favor. I'm not saying anything like that, but you have a shot to win. And if you have a shot to win 10 games, you have a shot to get to the playoffs. Why not? Why wouldn't you shoot for something like that? So I have zero problems with him saying it. I know that I think the headline was saying like that the Gophers were being unrealistic or something like that. But I say, man, hell no. Go for it. It's realistic. If you can't speak it into existence, then you're never going to get there.
Exactly. Anybody who steps on, who's going into camp and talking about, man, it would be really great to win 7 games in a bowl. I don't want that. I want that energy. Like, go
Take that energy to one of the basketball schools. Exactly. Take that energy.
It's a Purdue mindset. We have had a successful program. Yeah, we're not, transcendent right now, but like we've had a successful few years. Like, there's no reason we can't look to take another step or even start to have the conversation about taking another step.
Exactly. I mean, look at Curt Cignetti last year with Indiana. The dude came in and said, Google me, and ended up in the playoffs, had the most winningest season ever in Indiana history in his first year as a coach. And now they're like, look, this is going to be a norm. Like, you have to come in with that mindset, with that grit, with that kind of a hard hat mentality. And I think the Gophers are ready for that. Now, speaking of Curt Cignetti, Big Ten Media Days officially started today. He was one of the coaches that spoke on this first day. Look, he made sure to let everybody know it was the best year in Indiana history, and it is here to stay, and all that jazz. But one thing that I thought was kind of interesting is he took a shot at the SEC. Now, look, I'm here for it, but so he was asked by a reporter. Actually, he was asked by a Locked On podcast host. Shout out to the old network, but we moving on to bigger and better things. Anyways, Locked On podcast, Spencer asked him, he said, why did you take the Virginia home and home series off of your schedule? Why'd you back out of that? Because it was a Power 4 school, so why would you back out of that? And he basically said, look, we're just looking at the SEC model that everybody wants to keep talking about, where you only have to play 8 conference games, and then you schedule an FCS opponent, you schedule a this or that. And basically, he was like, if you look at all the SEC schools and you look at 12 schools are playing an FCS opponent, you times that by 3 years, that's 36 opponents are playing FCS schools. So why wouldn't we join in on that? If they're not going to hold it against them, we might as well get in on the action. And I was like, dang, he was coming for the throat right there. Like,
he's not lying, though. Like, he's not lying. I guess I've never thought about it that way, but I don't disagree with him totally.
No, I'm with you. And one thing that people keep saying, and it kind of bothers me, I'm not going to lie, is everybody keeps saying any conference, Big Ten or whatever, they would not switch their Big Ten schedule versus an SEC schedule. They would take playing those 9 games versus the Big Ten as opposed to having to face 8 SEC schools. And for me, I'm like, why? Because y'all been overhyped for many years, but we really showing it these past couple years. But then I look specifically at Wisconsin's schedule coming up this year, which I'm happy to see because I hope they 4 wins, fingers crossed, 4 wins. But listen to Wisconsin's schedule, okay? Their first Big Ten game is versus Maryland. Okay, not bad. Easy game, maybe. Nope. Then you got Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Indiana, Illinois, and Minnesota to wrap it off. Dude, Wisconsin for real might only win 4 games this year, and that's not even telling you that they play Bama at Bama this year too. Like, Wisconsin's schedule, I bet you I would take a lot of SEC schedules over what Wisconsin is taking this year.
Yeah, that's insane. I think that's the SEC mentality though. They do not respect the Big Ten enough because, I mean, it's the SEC, but the Big Ten is so competitive, dude, and it's a different style of football. Like, this is man football up here.
Bro, you ain't wrong at all. And, like, with that, you talk about the weather shifting, which people ain't like. I remember last year we're talking about playoffs, dog. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs. But We're talking about playoffs, and everybody's like, "Oh, Tennessee's gonna come up to Ohio State and spank them." Like Tennessee shows out, their fans are gonna be there. Blah blah blah. Look, Tennessee got put on blast. They couldn't handle the cold. They got smacked. They got shellacked. I don't know what else you want to throw in there, but it wasn't pretty. And the SEC got real quiet once that happened. Not only that, Illinois smacks South Carolina in the bowl game, who everyone's like, South Carolina should have been in the playoffs. Michigan, we're talking doo-doo Michigan with no quarterback. Only game they had that was real good last year was Ohio State because of the rivalry. Anything can happen with the rivalry game. That Michigan team beat Alabama, and it wasn't Alabama with Jalen Milroe sitting out or this person sitting out. No, it was Bama, and Michigan said, hold this belt, young fella. So look, I don't want to hear the SEC talk no more shit till you put some wins on the board.
I agree. I mean, I'm looking at, and I always go back to bowl season, and I know it don't matter because nobody ever plays. But the tally marks that always come up when it's a Big Ten versus the SEC school, the Big Ten just dominates. We just wipe the SEC. So
Yeah, there's always one redheaded child that always goofs up, but usually the Big Ten is winning these games. And then everybody's like, "We didn't have our players." Boy,
neither
cut
did
the
nobody.
excuses. Cut the
Yeah,
excuses. Look, 11 playoff games were played last year. 8 of those 11 playoff games had a Big Ten team in it. So
yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's how I will say. I agree with Kurt. That is it is fair. It's fair. I 100% get what he's saying.
All right, so instead of doing a chat GPT question as we turn towards the Gophers, I'm actually going to ask you a fun one here. And I'm going to ask you, what is one phrase that you absolutely know PJ Fleck will say in his opening conference monologue that he gets to have tomorrow in front of the Big Ten media days? Like, what is one thing you just know deep down in the bottom of your heart, without fail, PJ Fleck is going to say this or something close to it in tomorrow's presser?
Specifically, I know he's going to say the word elite no less than 25 times. No less than 25 times. It's going to be, it's a lot of culture talk. It's a lot of culture talk. It's a lot of family talk. And it's a lot of elite. Man, one specific thing, though. I'm going to go with the elite. I just know he's going to say elite a zillion times.
Yeah, I think that he's going to say something along the lines of like, this is the hardest working group that we've ever had since we've been here. Or he's going to say like, oh, this group has been like the best working group, or they've blown out the metrics. There's always one
I don't,
line that he
I don't,
always says, and it switches every year what the description is, but there's one line and he brings it to every single presser that he talks.
I don't even have to motivate these guys. These guys are already motivating themselves. They motivate each other. That's what it is right there. It's like,
Every
I don't
time,
have
bro.
to, I'm not even doing anything. These guys they're doing it themselves.
Yep, yep. He'll be like, "This is the hardest working group. We don't have to ask them to stay after. We don't have to like the expectations are there. They know what they want. Like every time, without
They've all
fail. He
bought
might
in.
tweak a
Everyone's
word
bought
or
in.
two. It's
Yep.
like there's underlined words, and he's like, "All right, we just switched that with this. We switched that with this. This is the phrase for this year." But no, I'm looking forward to it. Big Ten Media Days is always fun. It also means the season is coming. And one thing I'm going to point out before we dive into the defensive tackles. Did you see who the players that are coming with, or the players that are traveling to the Big Ten Media Days with the
Yes, it
Gophers?
was okay. So wait, it is a DT,
Yeah,
Anthony.
yeah.
Is it Devin Eastern? Who else is going?
Coy Parrish
Oh, Coy. Is the
and Drake Lindsay. Drake Lindsay
oh
is one of the 4 players, and
oh
I wanted to call that out because that is important, folks. That
uh-huh.
means something because the Gophers never just bring players to bring players, and they never just bring a quarterback to bring a quarterback. Ethan Caligmanis didn't go the year that he was going to be the starter, and the year that everybody was hyping him up and everybody was excited about it. He didn't get brought to go. It was, I believe it was Chris Harmon Bell, it was your brother, and it was Tyler Nubin. And they were all excited, but they didn't bring a quarterback. And there's been years where Tanner's gone. There was a year where it was like Carter Coughlin, Tyler Johnson, like Mo Ibrahim. Like the Gophers always bring their leaders, their dudes who are the voices in the locker room. They're guys that are in it to win it, all about the culture and everything like that. So it stands out to me that redshirt freshman quarterback Drake Lindsay is already along for the ride. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was in it next year, but I was a little surprised that he was in it this year. And that speaks volumes to me that this dude is really winning over the program, winning over the locker room, and is a big voice moving into the season.
Oh yeah, especially I mean, look at him traveling with these older dudes who've been on the team for that long. Like it means a lot. That means a lot that the team shows him that respect as well. So I think it'll be great for him too to be in that atmosphere and in that environment this early. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's move it on over to the interior defensive line. So we've been breaking down all of the rooms across the Gophers and talking about the players to know who could be starters, who could be in the rotation, who could be depth, who could be red shirts. And today is the defensive tackles. And look, bro, defensive tackles is not sexy to talk about. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I respect what they do. They are grinders. They are some of the hardest working folks on the team. And like, it's easier to talk about offensive line than it is to talk about interior defensive line, just because it's tough. Like, Minnesota isn't known for their grimy interior. We've had some good edge rushers over the years. We've had some good linebackers, but you don't really talk about that interior a lot. But I am excited by the starters in this room. But beyond the starters, I'm not going to lie to you. This is the room that has me the most nervous in 2025. So how do you feel heading into this season about our interior defensive line?
Yeah, so I was kind of feeling the same way. Like we have a lot of names that I can't say have seen the field a ton. So that's why I was gonna ask you, like, do you think that they'll move guys around? Like, I don't know. Like, so like, okay, obviously like Jackson Howard's an edge guy. Like, are they gonna rotate in? Like where like, hey, somebody's gonna bump in, like a couple of these ends might bump in and play tackle for a little bit, or are we just gonna run down this because we have I mean, there are a lot of seniors on this on the of D tackles. They're like all seniors. So that's
Not all
are
seniors,
they?
but there are a lot of guys in here that have some old or some age to them, well,
Yeah,
like fine wine. They've
which is
got
yeah,
some
which is fine. But yeah, like I mean, like beyond like obviously Jalen Logan Redding, Devin Eastern, like
Mhm.
those guys are gonna be our guys this year.
Starters for sure. Starters. Yep.
Yes, and so like after that, it gets kind of
Murky.
we got a
It's definitely
couple of
murky.
transfers. What are we doing? So
No, for sure. I think what you said isn't completely incorrect because, like last year, there were times where Anthony Smith moved into interior defensive line, and
that's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't be shocked if it happened again this year. Just because we maybe have a little bit more edge depth. I know we talked about the edge room last week when we were in here, but I mean, when you have a Lucas Fennessy who can get in there, when you have a Stephen Curtis, a Carter Menza, and whatnot.
Yeah, Jackson Howard would not be my first pick to move inside. I was
Yeah,
just that was
yeah, yeah.
the first name I read in the list.
No, I feel you. I feel you. But overall, knowing Anthony Smith has been there, they want to obviously keep him in his true position at the edge rush because he is a difference maker out there.
Oh
But
yeah,
if the time came to it and you needed some real pressure from the interior, I wouldn't be surprised if they moved him in there every so often for certain packages or looks. And it also would keep the offense guessing because they're like, whoa, 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 why is zero on the inside? What are we doing here? He's our
yeah,
key out on the outside. Like, give a little panic for him over there. But I think that the Gophers are going to try to do everything they can to make sure that their interior defensive line, where they don't have to move Anthony in there, but I think that's a worst case scenario option. But like you said, Devin Eastern, Jalen Logan Redding, those are obviously the starters. They were starters last year. They're going to be starters this year. They're going to take up a majority of the snaps. But
oh yeah.
we rotate our D line, plain and simple. So the next guys I have in our rotation, we mentioned one of them last week. That was Rushan Lawrence. I mentioned that I think he's a little small in the D line, but maybe he could be agile and maybe he could play that to his strength. I know Kyler Baugh was short when it came
Yep.
to being a defensive tackle. Now Kyler Baugh was strong as hell, and
So,
so a little bit different.
it's a
But
little bit different. I get what you're saying.
Rushan Lawrence could maybe be that, like, doesn't look like your ideal D tackle, but can pop in there and be the best rotating D tackle that gives
Mhm.
fits and different looks to that offensive line. I think he's someone that's going to see time, maybe both inside and outside. Theoren Randall is a guy who's been here for 2 years now. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore, I believe. There's a lot of high hopes for him. He's got great length on him. He could be a great run stopper, but I just don't know how ready he is. I mean, only the Gophers know that because he hasn't played a ton, but I know that they're intrigued by him. I know he had some injuries a little bit last year, I believe. or maybe it was this past spring. But I know that he's a guy that I think the Gophers would love to see in there. And then they have a transfer coming in who didn't play a ton, but I think he might only have. I'll have to check on his eligibility, but his name is like Mo Amanode. I don't know if I said it right. We'll definitely get it right. Yep, yep.
Oh,
We'll get it
close
right
enough.
by the season. But he is a guy that will probably find some time in the rotation if he can pick it up quick enough. And then you've got some young guys. Mo Sane from Eden Prairie. He's going to be a redshirt freshman. Riley Sunrum, who was a North Dakota, best kid in North Dakota in last year's freshman class. He had some injuries in the offseason last year, didn't really get to play, so he's doing a lot of work in the background, but he was a 4-star guy. So if he's right and he's gotten a little stronger in things, maybe he could claw out some time. Nate Becker is like a redshirt senior this year. He is always popped a little bit in the spring, and people are always like, "Oh, is that Nate Becker?" Like it's kind of weird to see him in there, but if they need minutes and snaps, I think he could find his way in there earlier in the season if some of those young guys aren't there. So those 7 names that I just put out, 6 names that I put out, I think that's the biggest question mark is who can rise from that crop because you need someone to.
Yeah, and you definitely have to, and it is. Would you say this is probably the toughest position to play as like a true freshman or a freshman, like to be a young guy?
Yeah,
Like
this or O
even an
line because
offensive lineman
yeah.
feels like you could figure it out, but like being a nose tackle would be hard as hell if you are undersized at all. Like if you
Especially when you're going up against Ohio
Ohio
State
State,
offensive line or a Oregon offensive line, where these dudes are like 6'5", 310 pounds, and they've been
oh
doing this for 4 years now. It's like, okay, yeah, good luck, bro.
oh
Like,
yeah, I mean we're getting in talks about Iowa, like the two tackles that
yep,
are
two
all
like all
preseason
American
all
level
conference.
guys, two
Yeah, I'm
all
like, could you
American
imagine
level.
being 19 years old and just being like, okay, I'm just gonna see what I
Right,
can
and
do
and they got
here.
one on the outside and one at the center, so it's like you can't get
Yeah,
away unless you're putting the dude on the other side. But even then, it's hard to like. No, it's definitely tough, and you got to have some real strength to you. You got to
yeah,
have some real body control to you because you got to be able to finesse
you
and power
yeah
and things like that. So it's definitely a hard position, which is why when you see guys like Mo Sane, you see guys like Riley Sunworm, you see guys like even Theo and Randall who's going into year 3, they
yeah.
haven't played and you're like, are they ready? And how do we know? I mean, good thing we play Northwestern State in week number two,
Well,
so we
we
can
will
we
find
can get
out.
a slow warm up, and then you go to Cal, who should be booty cheeks. So hopefully you get a little more warm up into there. But no, it's definitely going to be a tough ask overall, and that's not even bringing up the true freshmen like Abu Tarawale, Jaquan Stubbs, Colin Hanson, like those guys. I'm expecting a red shirt. I don't think any true freshman, unless you are no, I don't think any true freshman's coming in and playing D tackle in the Big
No,
Ten right away. Like
I
it's
can
just
see
not
even a
happening.
even a DN. You can play D end at that position and be a little bit smaller, but if you got some bend to you, but D tackle ain't nothing moving. That's
Nah.
crazy work.
D tackle is different, bro. You got to be built a little bit different, and you got to be strong as an ox is how they
Oh,
always say. Like you better
oh
be
yeah,
ready for that. And I
yeah.
just feel like no high school senior gonna be freshman is ready for that. Like, bro, I want you to remember high school senior you, and everybody thought they was hot shit back in high
Oh yeah.
school. Like, you know what I mean? And then you walk into that college locker room for the first time and you see 6th year grown beard been benching 380 for like 3 years now. And you watch them put up like 5 reps at 380 and you're like, oh shit.
We are not the same. That's what you said. You're like, well, maybe I do need to get on this meal plan. I got to start eating. I got to get my weight up.
Eating everything you can.
Everything.
Yeah, so no, I think the Gophers defensive tackle room is definitely my biggest concern for the season, especially because like to have a successful pass rush, you need interior defense. Because you could have some absolutely amazing edge rushers, and yeah, maybe they'll get there every once in a while. But if the quarterback knows that you're coming hot from the edge, their O line can make extra shifts or extra protections to block out the edge guys, knowing they can stay in the pocket and step up and then move out your way. Whereas if you have the pressure coming from the interior, it pushes you out of the pocket. It pushes you on the run, and that's where the defensive end then feasts because you're already on the move,
Yep.
you're already maybe out of position or having to throw across your body, and then you've got a dude that's right in your face because the interior pressure came up. So interior pressure is way underrated, but definitely a necessity to have a successful defense, and that's why I'm a little bit nervous for this Gophers team. On top of that, the interior defensive tackles are huge and detrimental to stopping the run. If you don't want to get ground and pound on, like you have to be able to have some dudes in there that can shed and tackle, shed and grab, shed and assist. Like it's critical and it makes me a little bit nervous for the Gophers defense. I think the secondary is built to have a no-fly zone, but we still need pressure. Otherwise, if the quarterback has 10 years to throw the ball, you only can cover for so long.
Yeah, I do. I will say I'm very confident. I'm super high on Devin Eastern this year.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not gonna
Oh
lie.
yeah.
I think he's gonna be great. My nervousness does come from, like we talked about, it comes from the depth. It comes
Yep.
from
Yep.
not even the depth, it comes from the unknown. That's why. It's that the depth is just not known. We don't know what we have. And that's the only thing that makes me nervous. But even like Jalen Logan Redding, I
He
think
can
our
hold
two
his own.
starters are going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
very solid. But again, that's a taxing position where you're going to, depending
Absolutely.
on how quick we get off the field, like guys are going to have to be coming in.
Yep, yep. And Jalen Logan Redding is a super intelligent player too. He knows where he's
Yes.
supposed to be and how to not make errors. Devin Eastern, thank you for shouting him back out because look, he is one of my favorite players on this defense. I've seen the most growth from him over my time covering the Gophers team on defense. And look, I know the NFL guys were giving him looks last year,
Yep.
and I know he's coming back to raise that stock. I know he is coming back to make a bigger name for himself. And that's not the only reason he's coming back. He loves the culture. He's a leader. He's developing his voice. But Devin Eastern can be a problem, not only in the Big Ten, but he can be an NFL guy. I'm really looking forward to what comes of him this year. And I think he's going to be a critical element for the team this year.
Oh, I 100% agree. He's going to be, I think he's going to be such a huge piece, like even leadership wise, like, being one of the older guys out there, like that's so important to be able to captain the defense from that position. So I'm very excited. I think he's going to have a great year.
All right, with the defensive tackles, you got any predictions, sleepers, or breakouts for this upcoming season?
Kickouts are hard. I do like I said, high on Devin Eastern. I think he's going to be great. One of these transfer guys I think might prove something. I would like it to be Mo Omonode because that's a sick name. It'll be just fun to say that name all the time. And we do good. We're 1-for-1 on Mo's, so that just turned out to be studs. So he came to the right place. Where did he come from? Did they
I think he
both come
came from
from
Purdue
Purdue?
as well. I
Okay,
think him
that's what I
and the
thought. And then the
offensive
other dude's
lineman.
from mid major.
Yep, Rushan Lawrence is from no
Is it like
FCS. FCS.
is it like Scranton? What is it?
No, Rushan Lawrence. Let's look at that one. He was with Stony Brook. Stony Brook.
Oh, okay, fair. All right, yeah. No, I think that would be my. We'll go with that. I think Mo is our guy. He's our rotation guy who steps up.
Amona Day. His last
Amona
name is Amona Day.
Amona Day. Amona
Thank you,
Day.
Gophers website, for pronouncing it for me. Mo Amona
Love that.
Day. We're going to work that into the rotation. He's got 1 year of eligibility, so I definitely think the Gophers are planning on getting him on the field. Probably be
Yeah.
as a depth guy on this D tackle, and hopefully he can step out. It's a good call there. I am going to put a sleeper on Riley Sunrum, 4-star guy, best kid in North Dakota in his class. I think the Gophers have high hopes for him. I just don't know how far along he's come in a year, especially having come off an injury last year. So overall, I think that maybe I'm calling it a year too early. We know I can do that sometimes, but I think he can be a contributor if he's put it all together from his freshman year. So that's my sleeper pick. And then I think, real talk, if Devin Eastern can stay healthy and like the Gophers defense is what we hope it will be, I think Devin Eastern finds his name either on the third team or as an all honorable mention for the all Big Ten teams at the end of the year. I think that's how critical he's going to be for this Gophers defense.
I love that. I love that. I know, like he will be we'll be watching him on Sundays next year. Next year. So
Yes, sir.
I think he's gonna have a monster year. I'm excited for him.
All right, kicking it over to the Big Ten as a whole. Any D tackles that you know that you want to shout out that you're intrigued by in the Big Ten?
I think they're pretty much the same ones we kind of talked about last week. Zane Durant for Penn State, Bear Alexander, strictly because his name's Bear. Again, like we can't ignore that. He plays for Oregon. Other than that, I would be just giving you people's who I think I like their names because I wasn't watching no D tackle film to
No,
prepare.
I feel you. I feel you 1000% on that front. I think overall that the defensive tackles, it's so hard to know. Like,
Because a lot of times they'll be listed at something too, where like there'll be an edge guy and they'll be like, yeah, but they play a lot of D tackle or a D tackle who plays a lot of edge, so like they just throw him on there as a D lineman. Like,
yep.
um, but yeah, I don't have any specific. We kind of touched on it though last week when we were just we talked about overall a little bit of Penn State's D line, Oregon's
Hmm.
D line, but
Hmm.
yeah, that's all I have written down. That's all I have written down as far as the
Yeah.
Big Ten. What do you got for me?
I've got my top 10. I've got my top 10.
Okay.
Definitely less detailed to this top 10 than some of the other top 10s we've had. But Zane Durant was my number one guy over at Penn State. Then you kick it over to number two. I'm giving it to Aaron Graves over at Iowa. I think this is his third year starting for Iowa, which Iowa knows something. It's defense. Defense and tight ends. I will always give Iowa credit on those two fronts. I hate it, but they do it well. Number three, we went over to another helmet school with Rayshawn Benny over at Michigan. Then I threw our boy Devin Eastern in at number four for Minnesota. Michigan, another big dog at number five with Edric Houston. Keyshawn Silver coming in at number six with USC. Bear Alexander, who left USC and then went over to Oregon, number seven for me. Jose Wheeler coming in for Indiana at number eight. Patrick Peterson for Wisconsin at number 9. And then number 10, I said choose your own adventure. I'm not diving any deeper. Like, make sure you fill the
You
gap. You take two offensive linemen. You create a car wreck, and you can have that 10th spot.
you could have
That's what,
put any name. You could have made up a name, and people would have just been like, all right,
yeah, that guy. Don't
oh,
remember
sounds
what
good. We
team he's
believe
on,
you.
but
Yeah, you've got integrity. People would have just believed you. You should have just made up a name.
exactly. I have integrity, so I don't do that to the people. I say choose your own adventure, and you know what? No one can be mad at my D tackle rankings because whoever I missed on the list, put him at 10. There we go.
That's who I picked.
Yes, sir. But let's move it over to the big discussion, and that is the Iowa Hawkeyes. Look, one thing we always know, we hate Iowa. It's always said, but Iowa is always a goddamn problem when it comes to the Gophers in this matchup. Like, bro, I am so sick of feeling like we got the dub and then losing in a heartbreak. Those are the two options for Minnesota. It's like a cycle. It's like it goes, close game, Gopher should win. You're winning in every category. They lose in heartbreak. Next year, blowout fashion, we get our ass whooped. Next year, close game, down to the wire. Gopher should win it, and they lose. And then the fourth part of this cycle, Gophers squeak one out and repeat. That's the cycle when it comes to Iowa, and I am so tired of it. How are you feeling heading into this season in the Iowa matchup?
After all the grief we gave Nebraska fans last week, I am so happy we're doing Iowa now because I had to take a long look in the mirror. And I was like, hey, we've won 2 of the last 10 Iowa games, I believe.
I think so. I think
And
that's right.
yeah, I had to look in the mirror because we do hate Iowa. And I can't wait to beat them every year. And we just don't beat them that often. It's always a heartbreak. You described it perfectly. We'll be at halftime. They'll show the statistics, and it'll be like we're beating them in every category. Rush,
Every
pass.
category. It's literally like historic how we lose sometimes.
Yes, we will kill them on paper, and they will just find a way. They just find a way. It's exhausting. It's annoying. But with that being said, I think we got them at the right time this year. Looking at their schedule, they got Wisconsin, which, again, Wisconsin might not be very competitive, but still, that's a rivalry they play. Penn State, they're probably going to lose to Penn State because Penn State's going to be good. Then they got us, but after that, they got Oregon. They're not worried about us because they always beat us. So that's a great sleeper spot for us because they're going to be thinking about Oregon next week because they want to win that. They have to win that if they want to think playoffs. They're going to lose to us. So we're just going to. I think we got them at a good time. We got them at a good time.
Okay, I want you to think about this. Last year, I feel like Iowa's team, like, because the couple of years before that, they kept winning the West. They won it like back to
Yep.
back years. Their defense was nutty. They had what's his name who went and joined the Eagles. I can't think of his name right now.
Come on now.
I,
No.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean. You're right.
Cooper
You're right.
DeJean. I almost said Cooper Flag, and then I
No,
almost said
not
Cooper
Cooper
Rush.
Flag. Too many Coopers. Too many
white
Coopers.
Coopers. Just
Too many Coopers out in this thing. We got Cooper Cup too. You want to throw a couple out there? Well, overall, Cooper DeJean was a dude that was always balling. They always had Sebastian Castro was a guy who was out there as a safety. Like Iowa always had these just like nasty, gritty defenders. All the way back to my guy, the only Iowa player that I give respect, Amani Hooker, still been in the NFL, still grinding it. Family friend, so only Iowa player I will ever be okay with because I know him, family friend. That's it. Otherwise, screw Iowa. But anyways, they always have some dudes that you know are gonna be a problem. Now this year we talked about Aaron Graves. We talked about did we talk about edge rushers this year? Yeah, we talked about Ethan Hurkett. We talked about Max Llewellyn. Both of them were high PFF returners coming back. Like, but those names aren't the names that instill fear. Like, I feel like the years before that, there were always names that you're like, God damn, we got to face this dude. We got to face this dude. Like, whereas this year, I felt a little more comfortable. But last year, I feel like I felt a little more comfortable. And maybe that was because I knew Cooper DeJean was going to be back there anymore. So whatever. Last year, how do you think their defense did overall?
Well, they scored more points than their offense.
Just take a guess. Overall, how do you think their defense did as a whole? I've taken most of the numbers down. Now they didn't score as many touchdowns as we're used to them seeing, but overall, how do you think their defense did within the country, knowing we both kind of felt like it was a down year?
But they had to still be top 10, right?
Not quite top 10.
They just kept okay, they had to be top 20? Top 20, right?
Yep, they were up there. So they were 20th in total defense, 25th in rush defense, 42nd in pass defense, 11th in scoring defense, and 17th in interceptions. Like, even in the years where I'm like, oh, their defense wasn't that great, was it? They're still great. And that's what's frustrating. Even when Max Brosmer last year, he didn't turn the ball over last year. Like, he took care of the ball well. Nope, had a turnover in that game at the worst time. Like, it felt like the Gophers were close in this game. All of a sudden, Caleb Johnson just breaks out the belt. I mean, like, overall, this Iowa team makes me uncomfortable. And now we're talking about an Iowa team that started to put it together on offense a little bit, like not a ton. They still couldn't pass the ball, but Caleb Johnson was a demon. I mean, the dude was like top 10 in the country in rush yards. That's probably like not even giving him real credit.
He broke their single season touchdown record, correct?
Yes.
Last year? Yeah.
I think so. He had 7. He was top 7 in rush yards last year, and he had 1,537 rushing yards with 21 rushing touchdowns. Like, he was an absolute beast last year. 200 of those came against the Gophers. So it's like, okay, you got to stop the run. Yep. And now this year, they have potentially their best quarterback that they've had in like 7 years, 8 years coming, because it's a dude who played in the FCS, who won a title in the FCS, who played for South Dakota State, which was a powerhouse in the FCS. And we kept talking and touting Max Brosmer and saying like, oh, he was a Walter Payton Award finalist. That's the FCS Heisman. He actually got second place. Guess who he got second place to? This quarterback coming in to Iowa, Mark Gronowski. That is who they have coming in. He can run, he can pass the ball, and I hate to say it. I don't like giving Iowa credit anywhere, but Iowa always finds a way, and this might be the best offense that they've had in a few years.
I don't know. Everything I was looking at, though, they are talking like they're about to run an air raid offense. That's not going to happen. Everything I'm reading. Yeah, they're just not going to do that, though. That's what I'm saying. So that's what gives me confidence. Is this guy throws the ball. Like, he is a quarterback. He throws the ball. So if they don't come out here...
He can run too.
What? Oh, yeah. But I'm saying either way, they're going to have to change the way that they have played offense in the past. and actually let that thing fly. Because I was reading some stat they've never had a quarterback like this. This dude has thrown more touchdowns in every one of his seasons than they've ever had a quarterback throw in their whole program. Like, it's crazy. Like, they just do it without throwing the ball, and they've been a storied program for this long. So I don't know. And then running back, who do they have at running back now? They have two guys who, like, are they just going to do a committee? Like, they're both kind of at the same level.
I think Kamari Moulton is going to be their guy. He was a redshirt freshman last year. They actually started the year by starting him over Caleb Johnson. And then I just think it didn't fully play out how they wanted. I think he got a little dinged up, and then Caleb Johnson ran away with it, and it was a wrap. So they had high hopes for Kamari Moulton heading into the season, and I think a lot of Iowa fans are saying, okay, now he's up. Like, he's seen how it works with Caleb Johnson, and he'll be next. So I don't know. I'm not going to bear too much weight on it until I see him actually play and put up those numbers. But when you're talking about Mark Gronowski, bro, you weren't wrong. 2024, 23 touchdowns. 2023, 29 touchdowns. 2022, 26 touchdowns. And you look at those numbers, and that's just passing, bro. I didn't even say the rushing stats yet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you look at those numbers and you're like, okay, well, at least if he's doing that, like, he's turning the ball over, right? No, 5 interceptions, 7 interceptions. Like, those are not bad turnover numbers. He had 2,721 yards last year, 3,058 yards in 2023, 2,967 yards in 2022. Like, in all 3 of those years, he passed above 60% completion. So it wasn't like he was just putting up a ton of volume or anything. Like, he was efficient, and like I said, he can run the ball. Like, it worries me because I feel like Minnesota is going to pay attention to the ground game because Caleb Johnson ate us up, and then they're going to forget about the run or quarterback game, or they're going to be like, nah, prove it then. Prove it, bro. But we got him in the middle of the season, so he's going to have time to build up to some confidence. And on top of that, if he can run and the running back can run, the Gophers have had troubles with that in the past. Like, we've had problems with, okay, we shut down the running back and we forget about the quarterback, and then we got freaking Tanner Mordecai in Wisconsin who never runs the ball running for like 80 yards on us. So this dude had 577 rush yards last year, 408 yards the year before, 402 yards the year before that, 380 yards as a fresh, or no, 300, I flipped the numbers. Anyways, 7 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, all rushing. So he was putting up like 30 to 40 touchdowns a year. This dude is legit. I don't want to gas up Iowa. I bet you a lot of Gopher fans are like, bro, Kane, shut up. Like, where am I going to hear the good parts about this? And I do think the Gophers have a chance because not every FCS translates, but I can't get on here and seriously tell you, like, oh yeah, FCS is not going to work, because we just had an FCS quarterback write some of the history in our record book. I'm not going to crap on an FCS quarterback when they've put up numbers, they've won, and they've done it at a high level. So Iowa gives me a little bit of worries. And I think the biggest thing, the positives, here you go, Gophers fans. Here's the positives. I don't know if they really have any standout pass catchers that he can really shine with. Like, if anything, maybe he's throwing to Joe Schmo, who's dropping the ball, and all of a sudden we got some hope, we got some liftoff. And then you look at Billy Edwards, who was supposedly this high-flying passing guy last year, and dude looked like a high school JV quarterback playing against the Gophers last year. So that's where your hope comes from. Maybe the pass catchers aren't all there. New tight end who's taking over. Ostrenga, he played a little bit last year because Lachey was hurt, but the tight end doesn't feel as high promising as the last guys we've seen, like a Lachey, like a Laporta, like a fill-in Iowa tight end here. But I don't know. I think the quarterback is going to be an upgrade. I think the wide receivers are probably a net negative for them, and then the running back is the question mark. Is it a Caleb Johnson level guy, or do they take a huge step back from there, and really you just have to bottle up this quarterback in order to bottle up the offense?
Well, that's what I was kind of going to go with it is, I mean, I still like our secondary. We haven't talked about the secondary yet, but, oh, no, we did. We did talk about secondary.
No. Well, I mean,
no, we did.
We haven't gotten into them yet, like position.
Either way, our secondary locks down, decent wide receivers, okay wide receivers. Now we just bottle up the quarterback and we win. But with all this stuff that we're saying here, if this offense still is bad, we still are dealing with a defense that is just a juggernaut all the time, which is super annoying. So yes, that's not the best motivation. Not the best motivation going into this week. But
Well,
like I said, I like our secondary matches up. Like I'm not worried about the quarterback because our secondary is no fly zone.
Well, a lot of it comes from can we create pressure, which we brought in with the
Yeah,
defensive tackles that we talked about. Because one thing we haven't talked about in this Iowa breakdown that we talked about in our offensive line episode is
here
they've
it
got some
comes.
dudes on this offensive line.
So
So
good.
even if their running back is average, if the O line is creating the Red Sea splitting down the middle, like it's hard to do anything
Yep.
against that. So, I mean, I was going to be a challenge. I think a lot of people are maybe just writing it up as Iowa to win 9 games or something like that. But like, I was going to be good. Even when they're bad, they're decent. And I think
Yeah.
this isn't going to be a bad Iowa team. I've been looking at how my projections are going for the season because we'll probably get to that here in the beginning of August on our predictions. We already know what Tristyn's is. But as we get to the predictions, I've been looking at the schedule and I do think I have Minnesota as a loss to Iowa right now. I don't want to. Don't mark it in stone. Don't write it in pen. I still haven't done my predictions yet, but I am worried about this game, especially on the road too.
Yeah, going there is tough. It would have been sick to get him while we had him at home last year. Yeah, I mean, I'd say like going into this when I was getting ready to do the information on Iowa, studying up, big numbers guy over here. All I do is numbers. I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, they were so bad last year. What a down year for them. And just looking at their record, I'm like, oh, they 8-5. Like they lost 3 conference games, which is unreal. But like for them, but I was like, they definitely didn't have a bad year. They just the way they won games was ugly. Like I don't want to watch an Iowa football game, but I still have us as a win. Like I said, Penn State's going to beat them up, and they're going to be thinking about Oregon because they just own us. So they're going to be like, we're not worried about Minnesota.
Here's the thing. So Iowa lost to Iowa State, who was really good last year.
Yep.
Ohio State, who won the Natty last year. Now, my hope would be you look at some of these other losses. They lost to Michigan State, bro. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Like Michigan State was not good.
That's what I'm saying though. They had weird games where it's like,
and they lost to UCLA. UCLA, who again was not great. But see, that would be my caveat. Normally, my Gopher fandom would be like, look, we got a chance. If we can be that type of team for them, like they could go win 9 games. We'll be like Illinois last year. Gophers were one of their only losses on the season. I'd usually say that about Iowa. But rivalry games, man. You know that Iowa is coming with the hate no matter what. Like, we're not UCLA or Michigan State to Iowa. Those two teams, they don't care about those teams. Like, they want to win, obviously, but it doesn't mean something to them. The Gophers mean something to them, which makes it harder to sneak up on a team like that.
Oh yeah, they still they got a bad taste in their mouth from the Cooper DeJean stuff. Like, when's Cooper DeJean's bye week? That would be that. Oh. If that lines up that way, we're cooked. We're cooked. We're cooked. There's no way that works out that way. But I'm just saying that's a nightmare scenario for me.
Actually, I think the week before that is when the Gophers play Nebraska at home. That's the week that Minnesota plays Philadelphia. So let's see if their bye week is the week after that. If it lines up, yep, I agree with you. Cooked, like
that'd be crazy. We can't have him on the sidelines. We can't have him there. It's not.
Their bye week is the week after that. So we got a little bit of hope there.
That was a nightmare scenario. That was by 1 week. Oh my god.
That would have been brutal. October 26th, and the Gophers play Iowa. That's last year. I was like September.
We look like the 21st last year.
Oh, bro. It is. No. The Gophers play them on the 25th, and the Eagles bye week is the 26th. Cooper just needs coming back, and it's a wrap. I'm sorry. Like, Tristyn, go ahead and mark the 9-3 in the schedule. You got to switch it up.
Game. You know he's going to that game.
1,000%.
Oh my god! I did that. I'm sorry, everyone.
You spoke it into existence.
I literally, I had no prior thoughts about that at all until we started talking about it.
And why would you? Why would you? But now that we've had our conversation, There's
Brev's
no
last
therapy
two bye
session for
weeks.
this.
Brev's last 2 bye weeks fell on the Gophers bye week. Like
Oh,
he
God.
can't even go to a game because they share a bye week 2 years in a row.
Right.
I was like, what are the chances that happens? That's crazy work. That's crazy
Oh,
work. Well, I guess we just do it to him again. Just make him embarrass him again. You got to do it. You got
he's
to do
talking
it, I
himself
guess.
back into it,
I'm
folks.
all the way
He's
back
back.
in,
He's
folks.
back.
It's tough to keep me down.
Yes. All right. So I was going to be tough, plain and simple, but that's going to do it for us on today's show. We're going to wrap it up. All right. To wrap up today's show, I want to know, it's not a fun question. Well, I guess it's kind of fun, but should college football expand the playoffs, or is 12 good? Did you like 12
Oh,
last year? Does it get bigger? How are we feeling with this expanded playoff talk?
I think 12 is perfect. I think the changes they made are they going this year already? No conference win? Like you have to, it's like the seeding, like
Bro, I can never keep track anymore because now
conference
all these
winners is
coaches in
what
the Big
ruined
Ten
it.
media
That,
days are talking about like, we want auto qualifiers, we want a play-in game. I'm like, what are we doing here?
no, it should just be the best team play. Like I don't need to see who I don't need Iowa State to get a bye the first round. Like I need to see them. They got to prove it the first round. Like I want that's the only thing I hate about the playoffs. I love the 12 team. I think it's perfect number. But don't do conference winners shouldn't get the bye. It should just be the best teams get the bye. That'll get us a better product. We won't have any blowout games in the second round of playoffs. That's what I don't want.
I could hear the argument. I'm not saying I want it, but I could hear the argument of having 16 teams and having no buys and having everybody
Okay.
play around one matchup and keep on going from there. I could get down with that. But otherwise, I think I'm with you in having the best 4 teams have it. But then who decides who the best 4 teams are? Is it the committee again?
Yeah,
Because
that's
clearly
it's
the committee don't always know what they're doing either. I
but
mean,
that's fine. I'm okay with the committee. We have to remember like what 15 years ago, like 20 years ago, there wasn't even a national championship. The champion was decided by the committee. Like we're lucky we get this game. Like they used to just say this was the best team, and that's how they decided the season. So I'm happy we have a tournament, we have a championship set up in general. So I'm fine with, then we can argue. That's our bread and butter. We need the committee to make stupid calls because that's what gives us something to talk about. But I just don't like that second round of blowouts where it's like, okay, this sucked. But I do agree with that. I'd go to 16 if they skip the bye. But then are you going to have teams doing some weird stuff to try to get a better seeding? Like, what's
that's
their
fair.
motivation? What's the
That's fair.
motivation to getting that higher seed if they think they can get a better matchup somewhere else?
Home
But I
games,
mean,
I
it's
guess.
hard. You
Home
can't
games
tank
is
in
the only
football.
thing you're really going for then at that point. But
Yeah, but you can't
I don't
tank in
know.
football. It's too.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Like you just can't.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. But we'll see what happens. The coaches, that's the one thing, the interesting thing to listen to in these Big Ten media days, because a lot of it's fluff talk and all that.
Oh
But
yeah,
hearing their opinions on the SEC's schedule versus the Big Ten schedule, and then hearing their opinions on the changes they want in the playoffs, it's interesting to say the least. But that's how we'll wrap up today's show. Again, if you enjoy it, leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Like, comment, and subscribe over on YouTube. Let us know other shows you want us to talk about, any extra things you want us to throw in at the beginnings of shows or the ends of shows or what have you. We're more than happy to get those in here. We're going to be doing our weekly bets, I guess, again this season.
yep.
So if you caught us over on Locked On Podcast Network, every week we would do our predictions, we would do bets, we would keep track of it. And if y'all want to be loyal, if y'all want to tap in and put your answers down on the bottom too, for those that are doing it every week, I'll keep track of it. I'll keep track of it and see who is beating Tristyn and I as well. I'll announce you on the show. So have fun with it. Get involved. We're excited to have the community
Yeah,
building up.
send me some picks. Send me some picks because all I do is lose. All I do is lose. So I would
Hey,
like
no,
to
that's
win
not
this year.
that's not true. We went back and forth last year.
That's true.
Back
That's true.
and forth. But
That's
we
true.
appreciate y'all for listening. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time. This is Gopher Broke Podcast. Until next time, row the boat, sky you ma, go Gophers, and all that stuff. See you next time.